Hey everybody, I'm at my house doing our lessons today. My computer at work was down. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with problems with technology, so I have to use my home computer. So here I am. So what we're doing this week is our January book of the month, which is called Piranhas Don't Eat Bananas by Aaron Blabey. Okay, so just by looking at this cover, do you think that this is a book that's going to tell you about real piranhas, or do you think it's just a story about piranhas? If you said you think it's just a story about piranhas, you are absolutely correct. Now, I'm not quite sure if piranhas eat bananas in real life. We'll find out. But just looking at this cover, I can see, just based on a little bit of that I know about real piranhas, this really isn't what they look like, and I can tell that this is just a fiction story or make-believe. What I thought we would do today is compare two kinds of stories, fiction and nonfiction, and learn a little bit about these very interesting creatures, the piranha. But let's take a listen to our January book of the month, Piranhas Don't Eat Bananas. Now, if you don't know anything about piranhas, piranhas are a fish, obviously. Piranhas, I think, get a bad reputation. They kind of remind me of sharks a little bit. Sharks, I think, also have a bad reputation. I think people think that sharks, they're afraid of sharks because they don't want to get bit and eaten by sharks. But sharks don't hunt people. People are not part of their diet. The reason why people get bit by sharks is because the shark has misidentified that person and maybe thought that that person was a seal or something to eat. Most of the time, the people that have gotten bitten by a shark is surfers. They have the big surfboard, and when they go out to catch a wave, they put their body on the surfboard and they sort of paddle out. Now, if you're a shark looking up at that figure, it looks a lot like a turtle, or it looks a lot like a seal. So that shark goes up to investigate, and they have really big jaws and really sharp teeth, and it just they don't have hands to kind of feel around, so they put their mouth on it to see if it was something they could eat. But unfortunately, they might take a little bit of a bite. But people are not part of their diet. Piranhas are the same way. Piranhas have gotten a bad reputation like sharks. People are not part of their diet. They don't normally hunt people. They don't want to bite people. Maybe a couple people have gotten bit before, but just purely by accident. So I find them a very fascinating animal, so I wanted to learn a little bit more about them today. But let's go ahead and hear this story called Piranhas Don't Eat Bananas. And what it really is how people should try new things. Hey there, guys. Would you like a banana? What is wrong with you, Brian? We don't want a banana. We're piranha. Well, what about a silver beet? That's this right here. It's a plant, a beet. Are you serious, Brian? We don't want to eat a silver beet. We eat feet. Or would you rather have a bowl of peas? Just stop it, Brian. We don't want any peas. We eat knees. That's it, Brian. Oh, I skipped a page. Sorry. Well, I bet you'd like some juicy plums. Oh no, I see where this is going. Look at their faces. That's it, Brian. We don't eat plums, we eat bums. We don't eat apples. We don't eat beans. We don't eat veggies. We don't eat greens. We don't eat melons. We don't eat bananas. And the reason is simple, pal. We are piranhas. Well, I think that's just silly, guys. Fruit is the best. Ugh, we can't take much more of this. Just give it a rest. Okay, I'll stop then. You'll hear no more chatter, but only if you try my awesome fruit platter. All right, give it here then. And look at that. Looks like they like it to me. They're gobbling it up so quick. So, what do you think, guys? Is it a yucky or is it a yum? Well, I have to say it is pretty nice, Brian. But we still prefer bum. Okay. So first of all, it's a fiction story. Piranhas typically aren't named, especially if they name them, it probably wouldn't be Brian. And they may eat fruit, but they do not eat people's feet, and they don't eat people's knees. And if they did, it would be a total accident. But really, this book is about trying new things and how it's important to try things. And who knows, if you don't try it, you never know if you like it. Anyway, so this is just a cute little fiction story, but I want to learn more about piranhas. So I have another book called Piranhas. Now this is nonfiction. This is a picture of a real piranha. Look at those teeth. Yikes. So this is not going to be a story about a piranha named Brian or anyone else. It's not going to tell us a story. It's going to give us facts. A fact book is a nonfiction book. It doesn't have a beginning, middle, and end. It's going to tell us information that is true about the subject. This subject is piranha. So it's going to tell us its habitat, where it lives, its diet, what it eats, how it grows, what it looks like, its body, and how does it reproduce. So let's learn a little bit more about the piranha because, like I said, I think it gets a really bad reputation. I mean, look at it, right? Yikes. Okay, here is another picture of a piranha, but I want you to pay close attention. You see the size of the person's hand? You can see that the piranha is really not a very big fish. This is the man's thumb. It's about as big as the mouth. So think about your thumb. The piranha's mouth is really not any bigger than your thumb. And they have really, really, really sharp teeth. So they do live in South America. South America is the continent below North America where we live. They are animals of the rainforest. Very hot, very wet, but the piranha is a freshwater fish. So they are primarily found in the Amazon River. There it is right there. It is nowhere near where we live. So if we swim in a river or go swimming in a lake, you are not going to find piranha here. There is a picture of the Amazon River. That's primarily where they are naturally in nature. That's their habitat. Let's take a closer look. Looks like a pretty innocent little fish to me. Now, as an adult, when they're fully grown, they get no more than a foot long. That's about 12 inches. I want to say about this big. It's not a really big fish. And they don't get more than about 7 pounds. They're very good swimmers. You can see that their tail here and their dorsal fins, it makes them very, very quick in the water. Okay, so take a look at these fish at the bottom. I want you to notice their coloring. When the piranha get to be adults, this particular species is called a red-bellied piranha. I wonder why that is. Their bellies turn red or orange when they are fully grown. Now, the female piranha, their belly is a lot darker red than the male. So I'm suspecting that these are probably males. But if you look very close, other than the red belly, they blend in very well with the vegetation in the river. I think that's probably a good camouflage for them to keep them safe from predators. Okay, their teeth, that's their signature. Those are some pretty vicious looking teeth. And they have teeth like sharks, so they're constantly rotating their teeth. If one breaks off, another one will grow back. They have very strong jaws as well, but take a look at that. This is the man's hand. Again, they are not very big fish. And yes, they are fish with very sharp teeth. So what do they eat? They eat, I would say that a piranha is what's considered a scavenger. They don't hunt for their food. They just eat kind of what's left over. So if another animal has hunted and left a little of the leftovers, that's what it's going to eat. It does eat a lot of insects, worms. It does eat other fish, much smaller. Excuse me. But when when the fish are in a large group and if they're all going after a meal, they will get very aggressive. That means they will fight their way to have a bite of that meal. And they do not swim alone. They're very social animals. Now, the reason why that is for protection. They still need protection from their predators. There are bigger animals, bigger fish, crocodiles, even some birds that eat them for dinner. So they travel in a school. That means a lot of fish together in order to protect themselves. Now, if something comes along, like a bird or something that they all want to eat, they'll get in what's called a feeding frenzy. So we kind of saw that a little bit in the other book. When they were trying the fruit, they were going round and round and round and round and round. They actually do this in real life, a feeding frenzy. And it almost looks as if the water is bubbling underneath. But we're not talking about one or two fish. We're talking about hundreds of fish, all going after the same meal. Here is a picture of a school of fish in a feeding frenzy, and they're going after the same fish for their meal. Now, they're all wanting to get in and get a bite, so they all start, swimming around each other, and it creates quite a stir. It's almost like something's under their something's bubbling up. But that's literally hundreds of fish going around circling and circling, trying to get a bite for dinner. And they could take out a very large bird or something around that size if it's hundreds of piranha feeding at the same time. Here's a picture of a school of piranha. Piranha, when they're born, they are hatched from eggs. So the mama piranha will lay up to 5,000 eggs at once. The father piranha will get a nest ready under the water and of like dead leaves and things, and the mama will lay the eggs, 5,000 of them, underneath the nest. And it takes about 2 months for them to hatch, and then you've got 5,000 new little fish with all those sharp little teeth. And this is what they look like when they're born. They look like teeny little not tadpoles, but teeny little minnows. When they're born, they have very shiny, metallic scales. But you see, this is the fingernail. Look how tiny they are. They're hatched out of their eggs. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit more research on piranha. their habitat, their diet, their life cycle, and their body. Like, what do they look like? Give me some facts. So your assignment today is to find out a little bit more about piranha. I will post the website. We can go on Pebble Go. There's some really cool information, and I'll post some other things where you can watch some videos about piranha. But I want to know a little bit more about this animal, habitat, body, diet, and life cycle. And then maybe something interesting that you found out, an interesting fact that we haven't discussed or we haven't talked about, because I think that they're pretty fascinating, and I think they get a pretty bad rap. So we should know a little bit more about this very fascinating fish. Oh, and one last thing, you can keep them as a pet if you want to. That you can put them in a tank. It has to be fresh water because they don't swim in salt water. But if you have a piranha as a pet, make sure that it's the only fish that's in the aquarium, because if you put other fish in there, they will eat them. So I think they can live with other species, but they cannot live with species that they are not, that's not in their family. They will get eaten. So if you want to have one as a pet, you can do that. I don't know if I would want one. But don't stick your finger down in there. They might take a little bite. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed our story, and I hope you enjoy learning about piranha. And I hope you find them as interesting and as I do. And make sure that you post I'll be on there chatting if you have any questions. I'll be in on the feed. Just make sure that you type them in, and I'll answer them. And all the lesson will be there for you, so you can either email me your answers, or you can take a picture of it and send it on the feed. However is the easiest for you. That would be great. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed our story, and I hope you enjoyed about piranhas, and I will check you guys out during class. Bye.